Hello, boys and ghouls. It's your friend, Luis. Some of you may know me because of my grindcore band teething, and some of you may know me because of my design and illustration under the name Luisifer. But everybody, and I mean absolutely everybody, knows me because of my funny dog entitled Bingo. This week has been a pretty cool week. Last weekend, my girlfriend and I went on a really long walk, like one of these all-day walks, and we stumbled upon a second-hand store. We walked in hoping to find a wolf shirt for me, because those of you who know me know I like to collect wolf shirts. We didn't find any, but what we did find was something much better. We found overalls for Sara. I have been hunting cool overalls for her for the longest time. She tried some overalls on, and they were like her size. She's petite, she's small, and they were exactly her size. They were small, and she tried it on, and I was like, no way, that's not it. And she's like, what are you talking about? This is my size. And I'm like, bro, I got you. The way to sport overalls is you gotta get like a humongous size. You have to look borderline funny, but not funny. So she tried some overalls on that were very big, which could fit me, and I'm big. She tried them on and she looked at me and she was like, bro, this is it. And I looked at her and I was like, bro, that is it. And we bought her those overalls and she looks amazing. So anyways, today's guest is a very special guest. I'm super excited because it's the first time I have an author on the podcast. Anyways, I was lucky enough to get a hold of my friend Dave Hofer, author of Perpetual Conversion, which is the Dan Lilker biography. Dan Lilker from Anthrax, Brutal Truth, SOD, and many others. He's done it all. He has so many cool stories, from his days working at Reckless Records in Chicago to meeting the Insane Clown Posse to discovering punk and hardcore. Yeah, this is a fun conversation. So without further ado, please enjoy my conversation with my friend Dave. You want to begin? Should we do this?
Yeah, I'm ready to go, man.
Okay.
Oh wait, let me change my name.
Dave
I changed it to Dave Matthews as a joke for a work thing.
This is good though. No, it's not gonna appear anywhere though.
Oh, okay.
I was wondering. I was like, is his name really Dave Matthews? That's awesome.
No, we were just actually, for this job that just ended, we did like a Zoom happy hour, just like a little get together with everybody on the team and all this. And we were just talking shit about music and stuff, and that came up. So that's how that happened.
Do you have any other like cool nicknames? Like any other, like you did Dave Matthews.
Oh, God.
Do you have any like wordplay?
No, well, I do have like a nickname that's followed me for like 25 years. You're probably going to hear this cat. He really wants attention here.
Okay, we need to see the cat though.
Yeah, he's on his way up. Here he is.
Nice one. What's his or her name?
His name is Big L, like the rapper.
Oh, that's right. I remember. Aren't all your cats named after dead rappers?
Yeah, we had that theme. We had Eazy-E. She sadly passed away a couple of years ago now. And then we have Big L, and then sleeping off in the distance is Joe Bananas, who was like an old dirty bastard thing, But so it's just basically my last name is Hofer, and in 1996 or something, I was introduced by one friend to another friend who actually lives like a block away from us now, which is kind of funny. But and it was just like, oh, this is my friend Dave Hofer, and he just was like, oh, like Jimmy Hoffa, and I was like, no, just with an ER at the end. And he was just like, okay, yeah, like Hoff. He was just kind of like a loud, fun guy, Yeah, and it just sort of like stuck from there. So that's fine though.
FFA.
Yeah.
Okay, Hoffa.
Could be way worse, you know.
Okay, so it's stuck all these years. That's good to hear.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't introduce myself as that, but I mean, I still have, you know, friends from back then that's just, you know how it is. Like some people you just call by their last names or whatever,
exactly.
And that's basically what it is.
Okay, I might throw in a little Hoffa here, okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I do answer to it, you know.
Okay, dude. So I wanted to start off. I don't know if you've heard any of my episodes, but I start all of these podcast episodes with what I consider one of the coolest questions in history, which is pretty fun. And it's Hoffa, do you prefer sweet or salty food?
Food? Yeah. Jeez. In general, I guess prefer salty food, but as like a snack, I definitely have a sweet tooth, you know, like I would rather have cookies instead of crisps. Okay. But just like food in general, you know, like I really don't like sweet breakfasts are not really my thing.
Okay.
So
no waffles I would go for breakfast for you.
So every once in a while, maybe like a French toast. I loved that as a kid, but now I'm more of just like a bacon and eggs kind of guy, you know.
Okay, that sounds pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. What about America breakfast?
Dude, that's my favorite breakfast is like the full on like there's pancakes underneath, but then on top you put like eggs and even like French fries and like.
Oh God! I mean. I think breakfast in general is kind of meant to be sort of like smushed together, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, whatever your preference.
Okay, so imagine like today were your last day on Earth and you could have that one meal. Like it could be from any restaurant you've ever been to, or maybe it's something your wife prepares for you, or maybe it's something your mom used to make for you. Like what's that one dish you would
man, my last day on Earth. That's a good question. I would probably have to be just like, I love pasta. So probably just sort of, you know, some sort of like hearty pasta dish, you know, and like a big salad. Yeah.
Dude, that sounds good. What kind of pasta though? Like would it be?
I do like, I kind of like the shell-shaped pasta. Nice. Also, you know, maybe like a tube pasta, some sort of like mastacholi or is rigatoni. Okay. Is that a tube?
I think so. That's a tube. But what sauce would be on your rigatoni?
Just, you know, some sort of like meat sauce, you know.
Okay. So bolognese.
Yeah, like that, but maybe not necessarily with ground beef. My mom, she makes one where you basically just kind of have like you know, like a bone from a prime rib that you cook with it, you know.
Oh wow.
It's, okay. So it's more like about that kind of like meaty flavor than it is like chunks of meat in it, you know.
Okay. Wow.
That's the Italian.
Okay. Dude, okay, so
or you know what I speaking of, you know, just because you're in Spain, dude, my wife and I love Spain. I can't say that enough. Oh God, what's it called? It's just like this, the Spanish omelet, where it's just like a bunch of
de patatas.
Yes, sí. Just all the, you know, just like eggs and potatoes. Oh my God,
dude. And do you recall having did you ever have it like homemade, or was it always at a restaurant?
That's a good question. Probably just at restaurants. We only had very small opportunities to have, you know, like homemade stuff. Right. But I feel like the tapas places that we've been to have been like, you know, we try to find legit shit. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I'm guessing under the wing of just with Jose, you know, like I'm sure he took you guys to some great places. Yeah. But I recall him being a good cook. So I'm guessing.
Oh, he is a good cook. We did eat that. We were fortunate enough to have like the traditional Spanish Christmas Eve dinner with him and his girlfriend at the time and her mom. And that's what I was thinking if somebody had made that, but it was, I don't think that was part of the menu, but we definitely went to a place where I got like 2 slices of it. It's so easy to eat, you know?
Yeah. And it's everywhere. So, okay. So let's switch up your last meal to pasta and some tortilla. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
fine by me.
Okay. Dude, and I want to, this is what we do. Like if, like I was talking to Shane from Napalm Death for like 25
Oh,
minutes
cool.
about food. So like we're going to go deep into food. I wanted to ask you just, you've always lived in Chicago, right?
Yeah, or just the surrounding area.
Okay. And sorry if this is a bit too cliche, but like when I think Chicago, two things come to mind.
Okay.
One is deep dish pizza,
Yes.
and the other is one of my favorite movies of all time, which is Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Oh, okay. You know, I've
So
never actually seen that.
okay, well yeah, that's just the one movie that comes to mind when I think Chicago for
Oh,
some.
okay. That's a good choice.
Yeah.
I remember you know, friends having seen it when you know it was released in the 90s or whenever that came out. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember them kind of describing it at the time. It's like, you know, slow paced. It's like, you know, just I don't know. Like when I think about the way they describe it, I just think, you know, it's whatever, like a lower budget, slower pace, kind of like psychological maybe. But
100%. Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. But
added to the list of like all the movies that I still need to see, you know.
there you go. There you go. So going retracing back, are you a fan of deep dish pizza?
Not really.
No?
It's
Okay.
the you know, I don't know if you've heard this before, but the kind of like stereotypical phrase is like only tourists eat deep dish pizza.
Okay. Okay. That's why David from Teething from my band is always like yeah, because when he goes to Chicago, he's a tourist. But that's his like big
Well,
thing when he goes to Chicago.
well, the thing is, it's like, yeah, it's like, you know, when you go to another city and you want to eat like their decadent, you know, thing, you know what I mean? You can only eat like you have to eat like a fork and a knife, you know what I mean? There
That's
are,
right.
don't get me wrong, there are certain pizza places that do kind of like a what I would kind of consider to be a pan pizza, where it's not thin crust, you know, it's like a little thicker, but it's not like it's not built like a deep dish pizza where it's just like layer upon layer of
Okay. Okay.
gluttony, you know.
Okay. And do you have a favorite restaurant in Chicago?
Ooh, that's a tough choice because Chicago's a really good food town. I mean, I'm pretty open-minded. Favorite restaurant? Man, that's a good question. I'd probably just say Portillo's. That's like
Okay.
the it's like a local chain. They've kind of branched out into, you know, areas where people from Chicago retire, like
Uh-huh.
Arizona.
Okay.
um,
Okay.
but mostly, you know, it started as just like a local chain in the suburbs where you can go to get like that quintessential Chicago hot dog or like the
Excellent.
beef sandwich, you know. And I mean, that's just something I grew up with, and they
Okay.
still do it well. It's like total comfort food, you
Okay.
know.
They still deliver. And so is
Oh
it
yeah, yeah.
kind of a diner?
It it's funny. Their vibe is more like you know, like Prohibition era America, you know, with like an old timey car, or
Oh,
you know, and
okay.
like, you know, like Dixieland jazz music playing, you know, and that kind of vibe.
Excellent. That sounds
So
cool,
yeah,
man. Okay.
it's, you know, it
Okay.
is what it
Okay.
is. It yeah. Well, we could talk about that forever. I could
Yeah.
go on at length about Portillo's. Let's just say that.
Portillo's. Okay. I'll definitely look it up if I ever make it there and if COVID ever
Oh
fucks
God,
up.
yeah,
So I want to know
yeah.
how it's affected you this past year. Like how has your life changed?
Well, I mean, you know, aside from all the normal bullshit about not being
Mhm.
able to go anywhere or do anything, like it was me, my wife, and I's 10-year wedding anniversary. So, of course, we were going to try to go somewhere over the summer, and that didn't happen, you know.
Well,
Um,
congratulations on that.
oh, thank you. Yes. Insert, you do like post editing and put in like a applause
Yeah.
track right there.
There you go.
But yeah, so aside from all of that, it's actually been kind of interesting. I guess I tend to be more of like an optimist. I mean, I'm in school. That was all online to begin with.
Okay.
Um, so nothing really changed there. It probably changed more for my teachers. I empathize with them.
Mhm.
But yeah, and then
Okay.
the job that I had mentioned, the contract job, that actually started in September of 2020. And then prior to that, actually like a week and a half before all the shit hit the fan, I had started a job at a library that I'd worked at previously in the Field Museum. It's like the Natural History Museum with all the dinosaurs and, you know, whatever. Yeah, in the library there. It is pretty sick. So yeah, they had brought me on just part-time and 2 days a week. So I went like a Tuesday, a Thursday, and then a Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, they were like, we're closing the library. We're not sure what's happening. And then after that, I just worked from home. And then I got offered the contract job, which started in September. And that was at a different museum and mostly working on site. And the museum was closed, so there wasn't very many people in the building. And that was like a Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 full-time job. So it was actually, you know, we did work from home from time to time, but it was nice. You know, I could ride my bike there, and it was like good to be able to get out of the house. And it's like, you know, the team that I was on worked far apart generally, but you know, you still bullshit a little bit. And a friend of mine that I'd known previously got hired on the same team, so we already knew each other, which was cool.
It was a good
and
vibe.
Yeah, so yeah, oh totally. And just getting out of the house, you know. So that was nice. And my wife didn't lose her job, so
okay, good.
You know, all things considered.
What does your wife do for a living?
She works in travel, in rail travel specifically. So that's, you know, one of the great things about traveling in Europe and Spain. You take the train everywhere, you know. Excellent. Which we've done several times. Of course, we always fantasy book, wanting, you know, oh, we could, if we live in Madrid, you know, we could travel everywhere else so easily.
That's right. I remember you because your wife's been doing this for quite some time. I remember you had all of these perks because of her job.
Oh yeah. Certainly. Well, yeah, perks. That's exactly it. It helps.
Exactly. Okay, cool. Thanks for keeping us posted. I'm gonna try something new with you, which is the lightning round of bands. Okay.
Oh, okay. Fun.
So you need to let me know which one you prefer. Okay.
Okay.
So
do you need an explanation, or we're just going boom boom boom?
Sure. I mean, yeah, if you feel like I think an explanation could be fun.
All right, I'll keep it short.
Maybe let's keep it short because I have a lot of stuff here for you. Well, you know what? Before we get into the lightning round, I'm gonna do a brief introduction on you for those who don't know you.
Okay.
When I think Hoffa, first thing that comes to mind is that awesome book you put out in 2014, which is
thanks.
Perpetual Conversion, and which tells the story of Dan. I never know how to pronounce this. Like Lilker or like
Lilker, Lilker.
Yeah. We're gonna get into all of that, and something else that comes to mind a lot when I think of you is your awesome time in Reckless Records.
Yes, it was a time. That's for sure.
It was a time. Because I believe, we're gonna get into all of that, and then something you've been doing for the past few years, which I think is super cool, and one of the perks of having the internet is this really cool website, which is sorry for my pronunciation. Is it DuPage? What is it?
Yes, I mean here we just call it DuPage.
DuPage is that the right pronunciation? DuPage?
Yeah. I'm just saying, you know, throughout history, it was probably closer to however you pronounce it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why I gave it like a French accent there. I don't know. So
well, no, you know, let's not get into the history.
Okay. So DuPage County Hardcore, which you preserve all kinds of music, mostly punk, metal, and hip hop, but I think mostly like underground. I think that's super cool. And you're also a drummer. You've been in a lot of bands throughout your life, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And so we're gonna get into all of that. Is there anything else I'm missing out? Because I know you're always dabbling in stuff.
No, not really. I mean, I think that about covers it. Oh my God.
You're unemployed now. So
yeah, I'm unemployed.
That's your other thing.
I have a ton of cat hair on me. Sorry, that's what I'm kind of like.
Okay. big L hair on you. Okay.
Yeah, he took off, so now I'm just trying to like get myself comfortable here.
Okay, so let's do this lightning round, all right? So yeah. Okay, so do you prefer wormed or animosity?
Ooh. I'll go with on this one. I'll go with animosity. I feel like that band was very unique.
Yeah. Okay. Me too. I feel like they went not unheard, but like I feel like they were popular for a brief time. Then they went away and people forgot about them. I feel like they should still have that status. But,
yeah. They were just somebody that I saw because my friend's band opened for them, you know, on a tour, and yeah, they just blew me away.
Yes.
Thought they were great.
Okay, next. Carcass or Suffocation?
There I would go with Suffocation. I'm just more of like the, you know, technical heavy death metal guy, you know.
Okay.
I mean, I love heart work and like the tools of the trade, necroticism, kind of like mid-era Carcass, but Suffocation.
Okay. Good. I'd go for Suffocation as well.
Oh, okay.
For the Misfits or Danzig?
Oh, the Misfits, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with Danzig. Do you prefer Brutal Truth or Napalm Death?
Oh, I mean, Brutal Truth. Okay. Of course.
I was expecting that.
When I say of course, I mean they're both, you know, like top tier, but just because of the Lilliker thing, you know.
For sure.
I love Brutal Truth.
For sure. Dying Fetus or Origin?
There I would probably have to say Dying Fetus. I mean, Origin's good. You can put on. Well, I really like Antithesis and their first record. I think are both very good, but I feel like Origin, you know, is just kind of like this across their albums. Where I feel like Dying Fetus has like they have some more peaks and valleys, and I feel like their peaks are very higher. You know.
Okay. Weekend Nachos or Sick Tired? Maybe this hits a bit close to home.
That's unfair because I grew up with all those guys. I mean, I can't answer that. They're both they're different. I mean, Weekend Nachos, they're, you know, again, they're more like peaks and valleys, music wise, not like catalog wise, just like, you know, within a song. Okay. Whereas Sick Tired, you know, they scratch that itch where it's just like, I need blast beats.
Gotcha.
You know, and I need them now. So that's tough. Yeah.
Okay. This one. All right. Let's say a tie. Okay. Let's say a tie.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Coalesce or Dead Guy?
There I would say Dead Guy. I like Coalesce, but you know.
Okay.
I think Dead Guy. I like the first album. Honestly, the EP that they put out after they kind of like switched around their band. I really like how kind of like trash can-y that album is, you know. It's just like real dirty and gross.
All right, let's since you've said Dead Guy, let's say, what do you prefer, Dead Guy or Kiss It Goodbye?
See, that's like another kind of I don't really they're kind of, I mean, they're two different bands, you know what I mean? If you're just saying if I had to pick one to listen to for the rest of my life,
for sure,
I would, you know, probably pick Dead Guy because their catalog is bigger. You know, that Kiss It Goodbye album is great, you know, but that's like, you know,
that's it. I think that they have that and 2 EPs or something like that.
Yeah, they had like the 2 7-inches or something. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I like the Kiss It Goodbye stuff. It's very like emotional, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Whereas Dead Guy is more just kind of like blast furnace. So
yeah. Okay, fair enough. Soylent Green or Down?
Oh, Soylent Green, without question there.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like your answers are always leaning a bit more to the techie side or the weirder side, maybe?
Yeah, weirder for sure. I mean, I think when you say like technical, it's like, you know, a lot of metal is like technical, technically, you know. I just, you know, I tend to be a little more like aggressive leaning.
Okay. Last one, which I think I know your answer. which is do you prefer the Chris Barnes Cannibal Corpse or the Corpse Grinder Cannibal Corpse?
I mean, my favorite Cannibal Corpse album, without question, is The Bleeding.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's that. But it's like they've had Corpse Grinder for 25 years now. And I would say probably, I mean, I love Butchered at Birth and Tomb of the Mutilated, of course.
Okay.
But I mean, they put out a lot of albums with Corpse Grinder that I love. I mean, Bloodthirst is an amazing album. You know, Gallery of Suicide, Vile, of course. So it's like,
yeah.
Which one do I prefer? I mean, I would pick The Bleeding if you put a gun to my head. So
yeah, I think that's like exactly in the middle too, right? Or at least that's the two like incarnations of a Cannibal Corpse. I think that one goes right in the middle.
Yeah, it was kind of like the transition album, that and Vile, you know, which I love too.
Okay, well that's the end of our lightning round.
Let me cool off here.
Okay, what came first? Punk and hardcore or metal? I think what came first?
Punk and hardcore.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah. Cause my sister was she was involved in just like the local punk scene. And in Chicago in the 90s, that's more, I mean, there's hardcore bands like Crudos,
right.
You know, and then others that I'd have to think about, but she was more involved in kind of like, it's more kind of like snotty pop punk kind of stuff, like Screeching Weasel and the Vindictives and Sludgeworth and all that good stuff. So that came first, and then, but you know, I would say like shortly, it was pretty concurrent, you know, because then you meet friends at school that are lending you tapes and stuff, and that's like all right in the same kind of time frame, you know.
That's super cool. It was I wasn't aware it was your sister that got you into all of this. Is she still into this kind of stuff or no?
I mean, she listens to good music, you know, but she's a mom. She lives in Boston, you know.
She's a mom. And
she works for NPR, you know. I mean, she's still the same person, but she's not like involved in the scene or anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
Her ideals and values and everything haven't changed. Actually, we'll see what happens with it. I know you're a publishing wizard, but I kind of worked on a piece with her recently that I submitted to an anthology that it wasn't chosen for, which I kind of expected to happen because it's like 5,000 words long.
Wow.
But yeah, just kind of about like her and I and like that whole thing. So we were kind of thinking about getting her to do some illustrations for it and maybe like putting it out as a zine, you know.
Oh wow, so it's gonna be it's not like that would be an article in a zine, it would be its own thing.
Yeah, we, you know, just make a little thing. I'm just trying to stay on her to, because she's a great illustrator. So I was like, you should pick some parts from it, you know, whatever you want, and do a couple like inside illustrations, and then slap something together for the cover and the back, and then I'll handle like all the manufacturing.
Dude, that's so this would just revolve around the relationship you both had growing up and hardcore and punk.
Yeah, it's basically just, you know, I interviewed her a couple of times and then just sort of wrote this piece about, you know, like, you know, because we didn't really have like a lot of music in our house growing up. So that's like part of it. And then just like how she met her friends in high school, that kind of introduced her to the local scene. And then I just kind of, you know, interspersed, because, you know, she brought me to a couple of shows back then, you know, which was just like incredible. So we talk about that, and, you know, just like our, you know, dude, I don't know if my parents will ever see this, because, you know, there's like that relationship too, where like my mom kind of got it, but my dad like didn't really know what to make of it. So that was like kind of, you know, a bit of conflict here and there. So we'll see, you know, it's just sitting on Google Docs right now.
Oh, cool. So it's actually done.
Yeah. I mean, I wrote it, you know, I wrote it, and then her and I kind of went through and, you know, collaborated on the editing aspect before I submitted it to this thing. That was like over a year ago or something. So
this is super interesting to me, because I know you're super into like publishing, manufacturing, and all of this stuff. So you actually presented it to like
yeah. What happened was a friend of mine, Tim Stafford, who was in one of the bands. If you go to this DuPage County Hardcore band camp, he was in a band called Frontside.
Okay.
Yeah, he was one of the editors of this anthology through it's yet to be released, but through a local publisher here in Chicago. And I don't want to botch the name because I'm a little stoned.
Okay.
Full disclosure here. But
unemployment lifestyle.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to keep it chatty, you know. But anyway, he was one of the editors, and now like 2 years ago or something, he said, we're accepting submissions for this. There's a 5,000 word limit. The publisher is more geared towards poetry. He's like, but we're if you want to do like an essay, like whatever, it's going to be this anthology of just punk related writing, so of course, then I had the idea to do the thing about my sister, and I was like, well, if they have a 5,000 word limit, that's my limit. So I wrote like, this 4,998 word thing and submitted it. And then, of course, that was like, when they say there's like a 5,000 word limit, they're like, okay, somebody maybe will submit 10 poems that are all like, whatever, 150 words each or something. Whereas I'm like, no. I want one 5,000 word chunk, and they were just like, no. And which I kind of figured, would be the case. So that's in the back of my mind. I had the idea. I'm like, well, we put some effort into this. So when it doesn't get chosen, we can always just staple a couple pages together and give it to people or something.
This sounds like an awesome and unique project, and so hopefully your sister will come around to doing some sick ass and
I'll send her this link and she'll be mortified.
Exactly. Okay,
no, she's good for it.
Okay, so this is a perfect segue into us speaking about Perpetual Conversion. I have my copy right here.
Thank you.
And
it's very flattering.
Yeah, man, this is cool because I believe this has been released under 3 different publishing companies, right? The English one, the Italian one, and in Portuguese.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, which is completely random,
but that must be like really flattering, right?
Yeah. I mean, the Portuguese one was just that was put together actually by one of the guys that I interviewed, Matthias Prill, who's an old friend of Danny's and promoter in Brazil, and he just knows the person to do it. He made that actually happen pretty quickly, and then the Italian one was just like a random email one day, which is awesome. That's the email you want to get,
Yeah, man. All right, so I believe let's trace back. I think this all started because you used to really enjoy touring with bands, right?
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I had the opportunity to go with Brutal Truth to just sell t-shirts when they got back together the tour was in 07, but they played in 06 in Chicago, like at the end of 06. And I mean, long story short, I had the chance to go with them and that's how I met Danny. So.
And how did your relationship, because how did this come about? Because it's like, I mean as in the like selling merch for them, were you already friends with them, or did you hit them up? Or
see, this is kind of like the same thing I'm doing now with school and trying to find internships and stuff. I always am just kind of like hitting people up basically, just to gather information. And so I think I was kind of inspired by, keep in mind, this is like 2006. I guess this would have been like early 2006. So some time ago now. Right. And I was kind of inspired by the Decibel Hall of Fame series, where they're finding all these old band members and doing these cool little oral histories. And I was on a big Exit 13 kick, that band on Relapse. And Danny and Rich, the second and like final drummer from Brutal Truth, they both played on the jazz album that Exit 13 did. And then Danny and then the first drummer from Brutal Truth played on the album. But for whatever reason, I ended up emailing with Danny and Rich, just kind of being like, what was up? Like, how did you guys end up in this band so randomly, and had heard back from them. And then in emailing with Rich, he then mentioned, like, I think maybe the the show that they played in Chicago had already been announced or something, and then he mentioned to me that they were going to do a tour in February of '07. And of course, just like half jokingly, I was like, "Do you need a roadie?" You know, and he was just kind of like, "How serious are you about that?" And I was just like, I don't know, he kind of like called my bluff, you know. I'm like, I guess I'm pretty serious. So it was just, you know, one of like these weird cosmos things, because then parallel to that, somebody had mentioned to me that when I was at Reckless at the time, and there's this pizza restaurant around the corner, and somebody had mentioned to me, they were like, "Did you know that Kevin Sharp from Brutal Truth works at this restaurant that's around the corner from Reckless?" And I was like, because I always associated them as being a New York band, you know, and I was kind of like, no, I did not know that. And it's known for being kind of, it's not there anymore, but it was known as being kind of like a, you know, punk rockers work there, you know, kind of place. And I was like, I didn't know that. So of course, like the next thing I did when I was at work was like, I'm going to go get a slice of pizza from this place. And then I'm looking around like, who is this? And then eventually, you know, just, I don't know if I went back another time and finally just like saw him and just got up the nerve to be like, "Are you Kevin Sharp?" You know? And
was he in the kitchen, or was he like in the counter?
No, he was the manager of the place.
Oh, okay, cool.
So yeah, he was just out front doing his thing, you know, and yeah, so I don't know. And I was just like, "Hey, you know, I work at the record store and somebody told me you worked here. I had to see, you know." So we just kind of hit it off, you know. He's just like a punk rocker at heart as well, you know.
Nice.
And so yeah, it was those, you know, were like kind of just like unconnected things that happened. And then yeah, they ended up doing this tour, and I was just like, okay, I got my first ever credit card. I'd never had a credit card before.
Okay.
And bought my plane ticket and went and sold shirts. It was
oh, nice. So this was
fun.
I wasn't aware this was overseas. Okay, so this was Europe.
Yeah, it was all in in the UK, so Ireland, Scotland, and yeah, you know, England. So that was the first time I'd ever been overseas and stuff. It was really cool.
Okay, fuck yeah, dude. So that's cool, because it feels like everything just fell into place. It happened organically, you know.
Totally. Yeah.
That's fucking cool. And I want to get into a bit of like, because this has been out of print for some time, at least the English one. Is there any talks on like doing another
Well, I will say that it's been out of print for maybe 2 years now, I think. And there's just been like, you know, with school and work and all that stuff, it has been on my mind, but it's kind of like, you know, I don't know. I've tossed it out there to a few places with no success. Lately, there has been some talk. There's nothing in writing yet, so I can't say anything.
Okay.
But there might be somebody that's actually interested in doing a second edition of it, which would be great.
Awesome.
You know?
Yeah. Do you feel like you'd want to upgrade it? Like maybe add a chapter, some new pictures, something like that?
Yeah, well, you know, of course, now you get into like, again, fantasy booking it. There are things I would like to update. One thing, I feel like the guts would pretty much be the same. But then I was kind of thinking like the end where it's like, what's Shane from Napalm up to, and all the info is like 6.5 years old. So
yeah,
that would be kind of fun.
Okay.
And then the back cover, I don't know. I just kind of like didn't know what to put on it. So that's why it looks like that.
I feel like this could, I know this is like, just like the equivalent of a gatefold on vinyl will be like a hardcover. Wouldn't this be sick on a hardcover,
Oh, I mean, of course, it would be sick to do something where it came in like a steel case or something,
A hologram on the cover, or
well,
scratches.
There is let me see the edge of your copy. The pages. Oh yeah, you do have like the limited version with like the black edge. There's only like a handful of those.
Okay, so. Nice. You mean, yeah, that always caught my eye, how like the pages are black. Is that what?
Yeah, that was the guy that designed it, my friend John. He did all the layout and everything. Okay. that was his idea. He was like, well, if we want to do like a limited version, one thing we could do would be to like dye the edges of the exposed pages black, so when it's closed it just looks completely black, you know. I don't know for sure because when Dave from Handshake released it, and this is not like a slight to him at all, but I mean, it, you know, it just, I don't know, it was mostly word of mouth, you know, there wasn't like an ad campaign behind it or anything. So it just like, you know, and the books were being shipped from elsewhere, so I don't really know how many of those black edge ones there are. I thought it was maybe 200, but I'm not sure. But
and how many
that's cool.
were made in total?
I think it was 1,500. Wow. I've never seen the paperwork, but I think that's what it was.
Okay, and like
that's what we agreed to do.
Okay, 1,500. What interests me, like with this kind of stuff, because I'm well aware of that, yeah, like just releasing records, DIY, but publishing like book wise, like what was the deal similar to like you get a 20% or something like that, or what was the deal?
What was the deal? I think we probably just did a thing where it was like once Dave made his money back from publishing it, we probably just split it. No, you know, actually, I don't think it was a 50-50 deal. I don't remember, actually. It was something, it was either 50-50 or it was probably, I think it was in my favor. I don't know. And then Danny and I have an arrangement because we have like a, you know, the whole book is basically like a, you know, result of our relationship. So it's like.
Right. I know you did some touring. Like, I know you went to Obscene Extreme. Like,
yeah.
With this, can you tell me about that experience?
Yeah, that was pretty fun. So that was before it was out of print, but it was like pretty near the end of it. So I guess that would have been 2 summers ago or 3 summers ago. So basically, because of my wife's job, we had plane tickets that we needed to use. She had actually, I believe there were ones she won in like a company office party or something like that. And so, yeah, we had basically like, we're like, okay, we need to take a trip, you know? So then I'm trying to think of like the order of events. I think probably just like talking to Danny and his wife, we knew that he was going to be at Obscene Extreme because Nuclear Assault was playing, as was his like SOD cover band, basically, where it's like him and then some of the guys from General Surgery and whoever the other guy is. And then so we just kind of were like, oh, well, you know, we want to go to Europe. I'm sure my wife probably came up with the idea because she's smart like that. She's like, well, we could just kind of like build our trip sort of like around hitting the festival on whatever day that Danny's bands are going to play. It was like, okay.
Awesome.
And then after that, then I was just really concerned with seeing Wormed, just as a side note, you know, because the festival is 3 days long, but we're only going to be there for 1 day. But they ended up playing that Saturday, so that was great.
Excellent.
But
was it everything you were hoping it was?
Oh, they were incredible. They were incredible, I thought. Nice. And then so yeah, then, you know, Danny and Heather are really good friends with Chirby, who runs Obscene Extreme, and I'm sure it was him that pitched the idea, like, hey, if you're both going to be here, we should do a book signing. It was like, okay. So we basically, Danny and, you know, I forget how many books we brought, but Danny and Heather, in order to not have to ship them, you know, it's basically like Danny and Heather, and then my wife and I all just brought a stack of books in our, you know, luggage, and then we just combined them all in the Czech Republic, and just set up a table like on a dirt patch outside of the merch area, as Obscene Extreme is. Excellent. And, you know, people came and we sold all the books. It's weird because to me it's like Danny is the star of the show, you know, and like I guess the book itself, but I'm just kind of sitting there like, yep, Danny Lilliker's right next to me, you know. One really cool thing was there was a guy there that had us sign his jacket, which was cool. And then he was from, totally, his denim jacket, you know, and he was from Russia somewhere. And he told us basically like, you know, how he wanted to come to meet Danny, and like basically what, you know, he got across in his, you know, I'm no good at Russian, of course, but in his broken English was that he had like ordered the book and it took forever to get there because it's Russia, and then it took
Right.
him forever to get, you know, however he traveled to get to the festival took forever, you know.
Wow.
And he was really stoked, so that was
Wow.
cool.
Okay.
And then yeah,
that's fucking cool. Yeah. Just
and
those. Yeah, just
no, go
someone
ahead.
traveling from so far away from Russia, where it's been such a journey, just getting a hold of the book and being able to meet Dan. Yeah, again, sometimes just witnessing that is.
Oh, it was crazy. I mean, you take like, you know, people in Chicago are like, the mail service is so bad here. I'm like, try living in the fucking middle of nowhere in Russia, you know?
There you go. So I cut you off. I think you were starting to say something.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that day, you know, I also like you know, I'm not a huge drinker, but of course, you know, you have beers at Obscene Extreme, you know.
Are they for like, yeah, they're like €1 beers or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, and they Infest hadn't played the day. I think they had played on Friday, but they were also kind of hanging around. So Chris Dodge was there from Spaz.
Nice.
So I took that opportunity to be like, hey, I saw you guys in like 1997. It's cool to meet you. Blah blah blah. He was really nice, but I had to like briefly punish him, you know.
Okay. And has anything come about? Have you kept in contact with him? Maybe write a book on
no.
him? That would be a good one.
No,
Okay.
I just, you know, asked him for a photo. I did ask him, I was like, how often do you get asked to play Spaz reunion shows? He was just like, constantly.
Yeah, that's
I don't
right,
know
yeah.
if he was exaggerating or not, but I laughed. You know?
I did see him at some point, like jokingly, talk about it on some social media, I think on his Instagram. So I immediately hit up, I don't know if you know Luke, who runs a Bloodshed Festival in Netherlands. So I immediately like told him about it, and he punished him about it. But yeah, he was just joking, as I could. Yeah, that seemed pretty obvious. That was a joke. I wanted to. Oh, how insane! Did you have a time to crate dig at the Obscene Extreme?
You know, we did look at the merch. There wasn't a ton of records there. I did buy the guys from Self-Made God had a table. I like that label, just kind of like a bunch of weird grindcore and stuff.
Yes.
And I bought they had a Gridlink LP I bought there, and also I thought I got something else from them. But definitely the Gridlink LP. They did like a Self-Made God press on, you know, some sort of colored vinyl. I was like, oh, that's cool, you know.
Excellent. That's cool because Self-Made God is usually handles CDs more, so that's cool. You were able to pick up some vinyl.
Yeah, no, now that I'm thinking about it, I might have also gotten an Anti-Gamma record, who I really like.
Yeah.
Because they put out some stuff on Self-Made God too.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Sorry, I'm just getting a phone call and it's like buzzing in my ear while you're talking. But yeah, I'm not picking that up.
No, listen to me talk about Anti-Gamma.
Yeah, exactly. And Self-Made God.
Yeah. Damn it.
So okay, I want to ask you. Yeah, you travel a lot. You've traveled a lot. So I want to know, where does a record store come to mind? Like, where's the best record store you've been at?
Can I smoke on this?
Of course, please do. It's encouraged.
Best record store. That's tough. I'm trying to think of like where I went somewhere and was just like, oh my God. Dude, probably the best find. And I should preface this by saying I'm not like a crazy like digger. I mean, I know what you mean. Like, yes, when I'm at Obscene Extreme, I'm going to look through the records that people are selling there. Right. You tell that person you'll call them back.
We're talking about Anti-Gamma again, goddammit.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't they know we're talking about Self-Made God records?
About Chris Dodge. Come on.
But we were in Zurich, and I was just going to say, I'm not like a super like digger. I think it's just because part of it is like my wife is not, I mean, she's a huge music fan, but she's not like, she didn't grow up buying records, you know, like she will buy records, but it's not like is ingrained in her, you know?
Yeah, she doesn't want to spend 3 hours of every day at a record store.
Yeah, and you know, to be honest, like neither do I. It's like I usually just kind of look at the sections that I think I might find something I'm looking for, but it's like, you know,
yeah,
whatever. Dude, if I travel all the way to like Zurich, I don't want to be in like a windowless record room for 7 hours, you know, like, so anyways, I say Zurich because we were there, and there was a store that was mostly hip hop, and it was like, it was, I'm trying to think of the name of it now. Again, I could find it, but I don't want to like botch it, but, great store. The sections were hilarious. It was like completely over sectioned, where it was like, okay, like I'm looking for, you know, Wu-Tang Clan. Is that going to be in the 90s section? Is that going to be in the Wu-Tang section? Is that going to be in the boom bap 90s section? Is that going to be in the produced by the RZA? I mean, it was like,
oh, wow. So
it was just like shit everywhere, you know? But like a lot of good stuff. It was almost like boutique-y kind of, you know, just like one of these stores where it's like very focused.
Right.
You know, it's just hip hop basically. Although, yeah. So anyway, so
that
I mean, do you listen to a lot of hip hop or no?
I do, but I feel like not nearly as much as you do. I mean, like my favorite band of all time is the Beastie Boys.
Oh, okay. I love the Beastie Boys.
Yeah, there we go. But I'm not like, I'm not one of those guys that has like 17 Wu-Tang Clan, you know, like records. I do have a big hip hop section, but yeah. So my answer is yes.
Okay, I just don't want to know like how in depth to get here, but so long story short, there is a group called the Gravediggers that was the RZA, you know them?
Yes, for sure.
So
wait, sorry, isn't that 1-800-Suicide?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
there you go.
that's them. So the album that's on, their first album, I won't go into details here because it's not right for me to say, but they have, the album was released in America with one title, and it was released in Europe and everywhere else with a different title and an extra track. The track listing is a little bit different.
Okay.
And that version, I mean, dude, if you look on Discogs, it's crazy how few sellers there are in America, in my opinion. The like European record scene seems just so much, there's so much shit over there, you know. I do this now that I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
I have like a runner up to this one, but
okay.
So, you know, you just like don't find this shit in America. So it's like we walk into the store, the cover of the album is kind of iconic. The image is the same. It's just the title is different. And I see, you know, I look up on the wall and I see that image, and I was like, oh, like my heart kind of skipped a beat. And then I looked at it. I'm like, oh, it's the US version. Okay. And I mentioned to the guy, I was like, oh man, I saw that. I thought it was going to be the European version. He's like, oh, we have that over here. And the, you know, like whatever, like some section I may have never looked in, you know, it was like rare shit or something, you know? Nice. And so he pulls it out and I was like, oh my God. And he told me, he's like, this is only the second copy of this I've ever seen, just like, you know, in his record travels or whatever, you know. And I was like, okay, I have to fucking buy this, you know. So that was cool. And then oddly enough, do you know there's like a 90s hardcore band called Acme? They're from like Sweden, I think, or maybe they're from Germany.
Yeah, they have that very I've seen the record around. I actually never listened to it. They have that very logo.
Yeah, it looks like typewriter type or something.
Exactly. Yeah, that one.
Dude, you should check out. There's like collection. They also didn't put out very much stuff, and they have a collection called dude, we'll get some visual aids here.
Let's do it.
It's called To Reduce the Choir to One Soloist. Okay. So it's like a collection of like an EP and a 7-inch. And nice. So when I bought this Gravediggers record, I was like, oh, you know, I don't have enough cash. So my wife was like, well, I'll just run over to the ATM. You can keep looking around, you know? And so I'm going through their 7-inches, and they randomly had the Acme 7-inch in there. I was like, oh, I'll buy this, you know? Can I step out of frame?
Yes, please. Go for it.
You can edit that part out. This one.
Yes. Okay. That's the collection though, not the 7.
Yeah. And then it's still only like It's 9 songs, and some of them are on here twice, I think. So it's like, it's not very many songs. You'd probably really dig it. It's very fucking heavy. So anyway,
I know I've seen this around all the time, but I have this thing. I don't know why, if the artwork doesn't grab me, like unless something like this comes up, like
Yeah, I don't know what this is. It's just like some green square on the front. So
I mean, the cover is fine. But I just feel like the logo is like something I would have done when I was like 14. So like I'll definitely check it out.
Dude, the artwork in, like the metallic hardcore realm in the 90s and early aughts, a lot of people like just using Photoshop for the first time. It's not always spectacular,
But it does have a special place in my heart now.
Oh, totally. I mean, you can like look at something and be like,
yes,
that was designed in 1999.
Yes, just how, like, I don't know for what reason, all of those promo pictures where they would like either stretch them out or really like just zip them.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so I do.
So that was cool. I was just gonna say, there's another record store thing I thought of, where we went to. It's in Madrid. And now I'm like blanking on the name of it, but
is it the underground one?
No, but that place is cool. I found Vanilla Ice LPs there.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. They were like €7 each. It was his first album, and like the he put out a live album, or not he put out, but his label put out a live album after his like big Ice Ice Baby album came out, and it's so hilarious. It's so worth €7 because it's like a document of him touring on basically like this one smash single. And like, the album itself only has like so many, like great songs on it, and it's like, the album's probably like 45 minutes long. So he's like, it's like this audio document of them trying to like stretch that into like a full length show. It's so hilarious.
So you did pick that up.
Oh yeah, totally. I had the tape when I was a kid,
Nice.
But it was weird. I grew up because of the 90s. It was like, in one hand, it was like Vanilla Ice. And then on the other hand, it's like somebody giving me a Public Enemy tape or something,
Excellent. I recall, didn't you, this is how good my mind is with the stuff I care about. Didn't you pick up Sepultura Roots in Madrid?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was probably on that trip. That was cool. We went to that store twice, but the one I'm thinking of, it's more over by, it's kind of like the big downtown shopping area where there's like, oh my God, whatever, like the big electronics store is, but there was a record store right over there. There was actually like 2 kind of close. And we were just in there looking, and I found the first Body Count album, that Ice-T band.
Yeah, of course. Nice.
That never came out on vinyl in America or in the States, so
wow. I wasn't aware it never came out there.
Yeah. And it's, of course, there's like the whole controversy with the cop killer thing, where it got like the CD was recalled and, all this stuff. But the vinyl never came out here. So I just found that randomly at some store in Spain and about like pissed my pants.
Excellent. Great. And that was before the whole like reunion boom. Because now I feel like Body Count they just won a Grammy, like Body Count is a humongous thing. But before that, I feel like it went unheard of.
Yeah, it was weird. They, were very popular when that first album came out because of all the controversy. And they've been like, I mean, they put out several albums after that. I think there was a period where they may have split up. Some members died, I know, from, some sort of illnesses or whatever. So they may have broken up, but they've been more active than you would probably think. But I don't know. I mean, it's like basically just known because it's Ice-T's band, not because they're like a great metal band, But that first album is just hilarious.
Riffs. There's some pretty fucking.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's sincere. The guy likes metal.
He likes Slayer, yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah. But anyway, like I could talk about that first Body Count album at length.
Well, this is a perfect segue for us to get into talking about all of those awesome years at Reckless Records. When I never actually went to Reckless, but I know a lot of people. that went to Reckless, and they would consider it one of the better record stores they've ever been to. And I think your role at Reckless was a big one. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like you curated a lot of stuff. You put on a lot of events. You like stuff like that. So can you talk a bit about? I have a couple of things I want to talk to you about. But you want to talk a little bit about your history there? How long you were there?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just give you the Reader's Digest version, the abridged version. I mean, I started in 2003 just as like a counter jockey, and then the buyer at the time, Steven, he left. He actually left for a job to go manage Steve Albini's studio, which he did for many years. But basically, he was one of the people in charge of ordering the new releases every week. And I saw he was leaving, so I just told my manager, I'd be interested in doing that. You know, I like new music. And so, yeah, that was basically that. And then did that for the next 13 years, 12 years. And then, yeah, with events and stuff, a lot of the time they were tied to, you know, like Teething has a new album coming out. Let's get them to play in the store, you know?
Right.
It was usually like tied to a release or as a result of a release. So since that was my department, we ended up being the ones that kind of like oversaw a lot of that stuff. And then, yeah, you know, it's unique. And it also, you know, if you think about it in a librarian context, that's part of the reason why I kind of went in that direction, where, you know, yeah, you're right. You are like curating things, you know, like I would be ordering from Evolution. And of course, then if you were to go into the punk section at that time, you know, it would be like a lot grindier or something probably than whoever's doing it now, you know, so you could interject like a bit of your personality into it, which is cool.
Did you guys also host movie related stuff? I'm guessing you did.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like something about a movie specifically. I mean, there was always like, you know, doing ticket giveaways and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay,
that's a good question.
Something comes to mind, which is you hosted an event with the mighty Insane Clown Posse. Can you tell me about that?
Oh my God, this is like probably my greatest professional achievement. What's also kind of funny about this is this job, again, that just ended. When they interviewed me, much like we're doing now on Zoom, they, you know, because it was like this big project, you know, like a multi-phase project that we worked on. And they kind of asked me that question where they're like, okay, you know, what's been a time at work where you've had like, you know, to, you know, like think on your feet and like when things didn't go exactly as planned or whatever. And I was like, well, I set up an in-store for the Insane Clown Posse. And they were like, tell me more. But yeah, I mean, those guys, so basically, like, I was exposed to them when, whatever year, like in the early to mid 90s, when they had an album called Riddlebox that came out. And I mean, I'll never forget it, dude. My friend Mike and I, who got his driver's license before I did, we would go to a CD and record store called the Crow's Nest, where my wife worked later, but not at that location. But yeah, we would go, and then on the way out, there's like all the free flyers and like CDs and shit that you can grab. And there was cassette single promos of a song off that album called Chicken Huntin'. Yes. And so of course we just took it, you know, and then we put it in his car stereo when we leave, and we're just like, what the hell is this? Like these guys dressed up like clowns. The song is about like slaughtering rednecks, you know, it's just like, and it's kind of like rap rock, you know, and we were like already into hip hop at that time, you know, not like, I mean, I had already listened to something like Public Enemy. So it's like I had like context, you know, but it just like amused us to no end, you know? And so then, you know, a few years later, they put out, there was like the whole Great Malenko thing. And that was, I remember the summer of 97. And so my buddy, John, we met at this record store where they did an in-store, much like the one that I ended up doing like years later. And so we met them, and they were on ECW pro wrestling at the time. So I remember we went in there and I was like, oh, like I saw like Rob Van Dam kicked a chair into your face. And they're like, oh, those motherfuckers, blah, blah. And so, we get our CDs signed and it was hilarious. And they're just like, and all that aside, like the thing that they created is just like incredible to me. They just have like this vision and they have these fans that are so loyal. And just like, it's all about like inclusiveness, it's like the music is not my cup of tea, but
what they,
those guys have built this empire, like in the face of a lot of adversity, I think, just like people not taking them seriously and shit. So the distributor that was handling the album that came out when I did the event was one of my accounts. So just like the email came across my desk, like, hey, these guys are doing an in-store tour where they are going to do like 20 different record stores promoting this album, signing shit. Do you guys want to host it? And of course I was like, yeah, we do, and at Reckless, sometimes you would kind of feel like there was like disorganization there, I would say, just like probably a lot of record stores, and don't get me wrong, people definitely helped me, but it was like, okay, when I agreed that Reckless would, and I would run it past my boss, like, look, dude, I'll be the point person on this. Like, we should do this, From that point on, again, you kind of become like the point of contact and like the person. And I did it willingly, of course, So yeah, they were, I don't know. The thing that I thought was most cool about it was like, they built like their little like stage. Cause to them, like the reveal is the big thing. So like the fans would come in and you kind of like turn a corner and then there they are, it's like pro wrestling, you know what I mean? And, awesome. So they had like these guys that, they had like a small crew they were traveling with, like 3 or 4 dudes that were just like professional stage hands, they would like, wherever they were located, somewhere in the Midwest, maybe they lived around Detroit or something, but it's like, okay, whenever like Metallica comes to town, they're on like the huge crew that like builds this gigantic stage, So they just had like these 4 dudes that built this, they're in there like building their, stage that they had in the store, their like area. And then they had this guy, Bill, who was like the label guy. And dude, they came in and I imagine that because they had done a couple in stores, they'd maybe done like 2 before ours. Okay. And, I was looking at the list and there were some that were kind of like bigger, like they were hitting stores that were like of bigger chains and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I kind of imagine, there's probably not a lot of people that have like the history with them, at least, like that I do, and that are just like kind of open to it. And, probably a lot of stores where some managers telling the me of the store, like, you're hosting this Insane Clown Posse in store. And the manager's like, oh God, but, so they got there and I was just like, look, and this guy, Bill, with the label, he'd been with them for a long time. I was like, my buddy and I went to the signing in 97 and this is like cool that we get to host you. And, here's our Wi-Fi password. Like if you need water, like, let me know, blah, blah, blah. Just like over the top friendly, Yeah. And, it was cool. It was a bunch of people came out and, sold a bunch of copies of the CD and it was like a long ass day, but it's like that whole thing just in, if you want to get philosophical for a second where it's like what you put out, like, comes back to you. So it's just like, and they told me, and so the funny upshot is, so they ended up doing like 2 more in stores. And then one of them apparently had broken parole, like broken the law by leaving the state. And so they had to cancel the rest of the thing so he didn't get arrested or something. And then they got in touch with me afterward. They were like, dude, like, of like the 5 in stores that we did, yours was totally the best and the easiest and blah, blah, blah. I was like, yes, excellent. Insane Clown Posse. Yeah.
Dude, so yeah. Well, my history with ICP, I don't know what your perception is. I mean, ICP never really got popular, and it was never really a thing, at least in Spain, or I feel like the rest of Europe. And I discovered them during the Great Malenko, and I've always unironically liked them a lot. And it's always,
I mean, they have some fun tracks, I'm not gonna lie, but and they also have like 32 albums,
There you go. Yeah. And it's always been, but I get the feeling like the last couple of years, like it's okay to say you like ICP, but for a while it was like, it was a very bad thing, you know, like,
well, that's what I'm saying, you
yeah.
know, their fans are like just maligned, you know, it's like, whatever. That's like the biggest thing that I learned, and I probably learned the fastest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've worked retail for a long time, but working like music retail where there's that stereotype of like, oh, I'm going to be judged for whatever I'm buying. It's like, no, like taste is completely subjective. Like just because you don't like something doesn't mean that it's bad, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, if you take that and then you add on top of it, just like the things that like the Insane Clown Posse, you know, like the Juggalo culture, like they're into painting their faces. Like, you know, just because they do that doesn't make it like any worse. You know what I mean? Like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Dude, look at black metal. Another bunch of like clowns, you know?
Yeah. And they've been super smart during this whole COVID thing. They've been, I don't know if you've been following them, but they've been doing all of these interesting things. Like, for example, Violent J, I imagine he has like a humongous house / mansion with like a big field. So like they sell tickets to like, what's it called? Like you go over to Violent J's house, you all gather around like
that's a good
bonfire.
start.
Yeah, you gather around a bonfire. There's a buffet, and like,
oh my god,
Shaggy, Too Dope, and Violent J, it's campfire stories. They'll just share their stories. So you're there eating while they're telling all of these like amazing stories. I'm sure you've heard them talk. They're super charismatic. These two guys,
totally.
You know, super funny. So they're coming up with all of these like interesting. While bands are doing live streams, they're doing like these really interesting
that's cool. So it's just like a Q&A kind of thing, basically. Question and answer.
But with a buffet and a fire, you know. And
can you watch them on YouTube now or anything?
I think people have I think you could watch it. You gotta like pay to watch it streaming, but I think a couple of people have like uploaded it onto YouTube.
That's hilarious. Dude, have you ever seen the video that they released called Strangle Mania?
Yes,
it's like
this was
the
like
pro
back
wrestling,
in like the early mid 90s.
Yeah, this is like the 90s for sure. Yeah. That's still I had like, I forget exactly the reason. Of my friend, we like split the cost of the tape. I remember at the time like $10 each or whatever, and we had it shipped to his house. So like the day it came, I went over and we duplicated it. Nice. And I had that like first generation copy for years. And then eventually like digitized it. So I just have the file on my computer. I'm like, I never want to be without this thing, you know?
It's great. Yeah, they've always, as you said, they've been super linked to the whole like wrestling world. They've always.
They just grew up loving pro wrestling, and that's the same as me, you know? So that's also like very endearing to me.
Okay. So, and can you talk about, you hosted the ICP event, and didn't you host like a Phil Anselmo and the Illegals event?
We did. I should also just mention, because we brought them up earlier, we also hosted Sick Tired and Sea of Shit, if you have heard of that band.
But it was live. Like,
yeah, they put out a split LP. So since I'm friendly with those guys, it was just like, hey, we should have you guys both just like play in the store, and it'll be hilarious because, you know, Reckless is, you know, to me growing up, it was always like the punk store, you know?
Right.
That's where I would go to find punk 7-inches and like metal shit and, you know, whatever. Like they're guaranteed to have 7-inches, you know? And so, you know, my coworkers they were, you know, amenable to that. I was like, it shouldn't just be the store where it's like, you know, whatever, like a friendly meet and greet with like Phil Anselmo. Like, granted, it's Phil Anselmo, but he's just like sitting at a table, you know?
Right.
That's I always like the thing where it's like, okay, some family of tourists could come in and Sick Tired is playing in the back of the store, just like at full volume, you know? Like, if you don't like it, fuck off. You know what I mean?
That's something I've always really liked about the US in general. I feel like this is not uncommon, where like bands once in a while will play record stores or play,
Mhm.
you know, so that's really fucking cool. You pulled that off, and they were able to play at full volume.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, they know the deal. You know, they don't play for very long to begin with. They share gear, so it was just like,
Yeah.
you know, our neighbors will tolerate a bit, but
Right.
you know, but yeah, that was always kind of the thing with like in-store events. Like the ideal for me would always be trying to get a band to play, and then if they couldn't, then it's like, okay, we'll just do like a meet and greet. But yeah, we did a Phil Anselmo one. That was totally cool. Those guys were all cool. I asked, it's funny because some bands, when like you do signings,
Uh-huh.
it's like, okay, do you want to listen to the album that you're promoting over the like store stereo, or do you just like want to listen to some other shit? You know, that's like one thing I learned. It's good to ask that, you know, instead of just being like, here's your album you've heard 1,000 times already, you know.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah.
And they were just like, whatever, we don't want to listen to the album, you can play whatever. And I was like, I'm like, well, I know that he's into Dark Throne and Portal, who are two bands that I like as well. So we just like put on A Blaze in the Northern Sky or something, and Phil Anselmo was sitting at our like crappy table we use for in stores, like air blast beating, you know. It's pretty hilarious. And then so the whole thing with that is they played at the House of Blues, and they were like, okay, one thing that you have to do is organize transportation to pick the band up from the venue, bring them to the record store, and then when it's done, bring them back to the venue.
Right.
So thankfully, my friend Christy, who I know just through music and shit, fellow metalhead, her mom works for a you know, like a limousine service, you know, and all this kind of thing, van rental and all that. Yeah. So I got put in touch with them and then organized, you know, this driver with his Sprinter van, you know, to like come cart them around for the day. And he was like a complete character, totally pro, but also just like, you know, he was very, very excited to provide top level service to like rock and roll people, you know, and he was just very enthusiastic. It was great, you know. And yeah, that was the first time I ever saw clear rolling papers for joints. Like on the way when it was all over on the, you know, I went back with them to the venue because I was like responsible for the van and like the band and everything, you know. And on the way back, the guys in the band were like, you know, whatever, work time is over. Right. They produced this. I was like, oh, that's weird. I've never seen the clear rolling papers before.
Apparently that's like the healthier. No dye on it, apparently.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Talking about that Sick Tired show, was like the crowd respectful? Like, did anyone like decide to like fuck shit up?
No, everybody was cool.
Okay.
Yeah, which is, to me, that's almost kind of like a detriment, where it's like sick to have these awesome bands playing, but like nobody can go off, you know. It's like, oh no, you know, everybody shoved the DVD racks over, like that kind of puts a damper on things, you know.
Yeah.
But no, you know, Robbie, the singer from Sea of Shit, has told me on numerous occasions, because he grew up the same way I did, like loving Reckless, you know, where he was like, you know, I feel kind of stupid saying this, but I mean, he's told me a few times where he's like, that was one of the coolest shows we ever played, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, we actually did a thing too, where somebody created like a screen print. So they had like a version of the record you could only buy at the in-store, which they sold out of. So that was cool.
That's excellent, man. Yeah. And I can totally, I can see that, like being in a band, what I look forward to the most is probably just playing in weird places, you know, like if it
totally
never played a record store. So like the day that happens, I can totally see myself telling the equivalent of you, like, yo, that was one of the best shows ever. Or just the weirder the place, the better, you know?
Yeah, totally. You know, it's like, well, you know how it is, you know, you just play wherever, you know. I played in a kitchen one time. That was fun, you know. Bass drum sliding all over the floor.
Yeah, like when we played a kitchen, it was somewhere in the UK. There was a microwave right next to us, and people were just like warming up their pasta while we were playing, you know. So Yeah, that's definitely like stories to remember, you know.
That's incredible.
So this is a perfect segue. Tell me a bit about your bands, because like the last I heard you were playing in the Eradicator, if I'm correct.
Yeah. That is Weed Hit.
We'd hit.
Yeah, that's that was the brainchild of my friend Andy. Great musician, great guy, very creative. Where he are you familiar with the Kids in the Hall sketch? It's like based off of, or no?
I'm aware of the name. I've seen the poster around. I've never watched it.
Okay. I mean, it was a sketch comedy show from the 90s from Canada, you know.
Okay.
And so this whole band is just based off this one sketch that they did called The Eradicator.
Nice.
And yeah, it's just like high concept punk rock, you know. It's when you're talking about like the weirder the better, like here you go, you know. And so he's had like I mean, dozens of different people that have played with him in terms of a backing band, all sorts of configurations. So yeah, the last time I played drums live was, yeah, for him, just because their regular drummer couldn't do it and they needed somebody somewhat competent, I guess. And that's been probably, I mean, at least a year. Yeah, the whole thing. And we don't own a car now because we live in a big city, you know.
Dave, sorry, just give me a sec. This person doesn't stop calling.
And
let me pick this up 1 second. Sorry, that was just the hospital calling, telling me they have. I did some sort of X-rays, but like, yeah, all good, all good.
Oh, okay, you work for a hospital?
Oh no, not at all. I had to get like I've been having some back pain, so they did some sort of like not an X-ray, but like I don't know what the name is in English, but yeah, they're just letting me know, hey, you can pick up your results. This hospital is so old, you can't like, you have to go pick it up. You can't, you'd think you would like, you can like get this online digital, but no, you have to pick it up.
Yeah,
that's how old school we are.
How do you like living do you live like in Madrid, or just like outside of it? Or
I live in the outskirts, border. Yeah, this is pretty much the countryside. I love it. My girlfriend and I live in a like really cool like duplex kind of loft with our dog, and so like we're maybe in my 20s I wouldn't have enjoyed this, but like well into my 30s, like I fully enjoy this kind of lifestyle, like far away from like, and I can get to the city in 30 minutes.
Yeah, that was my question. Yeah.
And yeah, that was my thing. As long as I can get to like the cool restaurant or to the show in 30 minutes drive, that's it. That's the only thing I do in the city center, you know.
You take the train from where you live, or no?
You can, but like it's just way more convenient for me just to get the car, you know. Like you can get the train. But so yeah, this is definitely cool. And I feel like ever since I moved here, I'm much more productive, like creative wise. Like I can like you know, work on artwork for teething, or I can just do a fucking podcast, or I can you know, put out or draw a lot. So like I feel like creative wise a lot more productive.
What have you been up to anyway?
I've been up to, well, teething, we recorded like 23 songs recently.
Oh, great. Awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Which is really exciting because it's the first time we record to like live, like not, so like there's no click track, nothing, which is, I feel like that's the way teething should sound. So that's going to be a new LP and 2 splits with a band I feel like you would like a lot from the north of Spain. Maybe you know them, Nashgul.
Oh yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna do one with them and another split with Teeth Grinder from Holland, and so that's keeping me busy, you know, just talking to labels, doing all of this artwork for all of these releases, and I've been doing that teething was because that's the only thing we can do actually, you know. And what else? I put out a zine with illustrations, which is always fun, you know, just feeding the
is that the shit tattoos one?
That was the first one. The second one is entitled Forever Immature.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that's just a collection of my Ren and Stimpy influenced artwork, you know. And
Like some Ren and Stimpy, that's for sure.
oh yeah, man, exactly. Like the best day of this year has been like one morning I woke up, I looked at my Instagram account, and they had announced a new Beavis and Butthead movie and
Okay.
Workaholics movie. Yeah, it doesn't get any better than that. So that was
when was that announced?
this was like a month ago or something.
Oh, okay.
Did you not hear about this?
You know, speaking of movies I've never actually seen the Beavis and Butthead Do America movie. I watched the TV show like all the fucking time though.
Okay. Well, dude, I'd highly recommend you keep smoking that bowl and like watch Do America after this, dude.
I mean, there's just so many fucking movies. It's like,
Right. Yeah.
you know, I don't know.
Yeah. That's I'd say I'm maybe even bigger into like movies than I am music, and you know how much I like
I
music.
can see that. Yeah. We have like opposite backgrounds.
Yeah, but I have that same background downstairs, you know.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know, actually, we were just talking about this, like my wife and I, where, you know, just because of space,
Yeah.
we do still have like a bunch of DVDs of movies we love and like, you know, video games and, you know, odd shaped CDs and like box sets and stuff, but they're all just like in like IKEA cubes, you know, to like have them
Right.
somewhere.
Right.
And someday, you know, whenever we
Yeah.
move, I would love to get shelves like you've got, you know, of course, back in the day when I had like 1,000 CDs, I always had a shelf for them.
Yes.
I would love to have that stuff displayed again, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like displaying stuff is so important. Like yesterday, my girlfriend and I were counting how many plants she's gathered, and she has 84 plants, you know.
Oh, wow,
throughout the
that's
house.
awesome.
So I'm like, this is awesome. But like the secret behind it is like displaying it right, you know. Let's get like the proper furniture for like all of these plants. And
That's
so
cool.
like just like if you're gonna have all these movies, it seems a pity to have it like in an IKEA, you know, boxes. But yeah, as you were saying, when you have a bigger place, you know.
Yeah, we'll get there, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been like, well, you know, I mean, I'm a little bit older than you, so it's like there was a time where, you know, everybody just had a ton of DVDs and CDs if that was what you were interested in.
Yeah.
So you had to have a shelf to put them on, but now it's like been reduced. And I like the display case you've got back there. That's cool.
This is all Ghostbusters stuff.
Oh, really? We
yeah.
actually just watched that. Oh no, actually I take that back. We
Okay.
watched that a while ago.
Okay.
Somewhat recently.
The original one,
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I didn't see the remake, that came out a couple of years ago. Is that any good?
Unfortunately, not worth it at all. And I went to the movies like on my own, like on opening day with an open mind, just like, but it was really not good at all. I mean, you can't really just top, you know, Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray in 1984.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, to me, that just is like a classic case of, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. Yeah. So here we have everything from like cereal to lip balm to Twinkies to like wristwatches, and like the older the better, you know. Like this
That's
is
cool.
mostly stuff from like the 80s. Like I know
Do you have
like,
any do you have any of the Ecto Cooler, the high C drink?
Oh yeah, I do. I have like 3 of those, dude.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that the liquid hasn't like burned through the cardboard or something.
Okay, wait, no, actually, no, I don't know. What I have is like a re-release of the original Ecto Cool. It's like an energy drink. I don't have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Poser.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I was trying to be all cool. But no, yeah, I have I'm talking about like movies. Yeah, I have everything from Betamax to VHS to DVD to Laserdisc to Blu-rays, and like eventually, hopefully, once I get a better paycheck and a better house, I'll be able to like collect 35 millimeters and stuff.
Cool. I was gonna say the scene at the beginning of Ghostbusters with the creepy librarian, you know, when I was a kid, that scared the shit out of me.
Dude, yeah, I'm on your boat. That was definitely the main scare of that movie.
Like the atmosphere, when they're approaching her is so like tense and creepy. And looking at it now when she transforms, it's like comical, but like it's very eerie in the beginning.
Yeah. It's very, very, and the special effects to that movie are fucking hold up perfectly. At least in my eyes, I don't know.
Oh no, I would agree, because it is kind of like a comic book or something,
For sure.
So it doesn't have to be. I mean, it's not realistic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm just always upgrading. Like, there's a new Ghostbusters documentary every year, and
I was kind of wondering, like, is somebody that's seen like every version of it? What's like the coolest Ghostbusters bonus feature that's been on something?
Let me think.
Like a special effects thing or something? Or...
Yeah, that's great. My girlfriend actually just bought me a new documentary. No problem. A new documentary that came out a year ago, which was great. It's like an hour and a half, and I forget the name, but it's just like the documentary, the definitive Ghostbusters documentary that came out a year and a half ago.
Okay, cool.
For some reason, Bill Murray never wants anything to do with the Ghostbusters. I don't know. He's just like that. Yeah, he's that kind of guy. That just makes him that much more special, I guess.
Yeah, that's his gimmick, is like not giving a shit about stuff, I think.
What's his name? What's his name? That guy from Animal House.
John Belushi?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I recently learned that like Dan Aykroyd came up because John Belushi was supposed to be part of the original Ghostbusters.
Oh, okay.
And he died before the film was made, and he was like already in line to be one of the Ghostbusters. And so Dan Aykroyd, in order to immortalize him, came up with the idea of Slimer. So Slimer is like,
oh really?
Yeah, Slimer is John Belushi. It's like his personality. If you look at him, he kind of looks like John Belushi.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So John Belushi lives on in Slimer. So there's a little piece of trivia that's pretty fucking cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, and Eddie Murphy was supposed to be. He was also supposed to be in.
Oh, okay.
The original Ghostbusters. So yeah, see, as you could talk about, I guess Anti-Gamma or Portal forever, I could talk about the Ghostbusters.
What do you think of Ghostbusters 2? I saw that in the theater.
Oh, nice. I saw that in the theater too. That was 1989. I was only 4 years old, but I loved it.
Yeah, I was 10. I'm pretty sure we saw it. We were like on vacation somewhere as a family, and for some reason went to the movies. I have no idea why. And we saw Ghostbusters 2. Maybe we had to kill like 2 hours or something. I have no idea.
That's that I love that movie. Like, I mean, if the first one is a perfect 10, I'd put Ghostbusters 2. I'd give it an 8.5 maybe.
Oh, okay.
I
haven't seen that in forever.
Yeah, I mean the villains aren't as cool. You just can't top the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, So,
Zool.
Yeah, exactly, Zool.
Yeah.
So enough Ghostbusters. Let's get like any other. We talked about the Eradicators.
Yeah. So band shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else worth mentioning you want to talk about?
I mean, the last band that I did before that, where I was like a full-time real member, was this band called the Chicago Thrash Ensemble.
Nice.
Which is just kind of like a stupid name, like many band names. And yeah, that was just me and 4 guys that I've been friends with for a long time. We did that kind of on and off for like 10 years almost. We put out two one-sided 12 inches.
Excellent.
And then I don't know.
Did you do any touring with this band?
Touring?
Yeah.
Nah, we only just played like regionally. I think the farthest away we went was like, like a little bit downstate. We played like that was the Kitchen show.
Okay.
We played like a college, but just mainly in Chicago.
Okay, but that's sounds like you guys had a fun time.
Yeah, it was fun. Just an excuse to play like super fucking fast and heavy,
Just an excuse to put out a single-sided 12-inch, which is all.
Yeah, I mean, when we started that band, we were all like in our late 20s to early 30s, and we knew, you know, from the get-go, we're like, we're not going to go on tour, but we want to like play and record and hang out, you know.
Nice.
So
Nice. Well, and any other like musical endeavors in the future? Anything like, I'm guessing you talk to people all the time, maybe about putting something together.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Friends talk, you know, it would
Right.
be fun to do something. It's weird being in school. That kind of takes up like a
Right.
lot of time. We'll see. I mean, dude, you know, playing live is like the best thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it would suck if I never was in another band that played a show ever again.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I had a lot of that experience, you know, so it's like, you know, better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all, you know.
There you go. There you go. Good one. Good one. Yeah. Likewise, I hopefully there's live shows at some point. Australia's already doing live shows. Like,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, like grindcore shows and stuff, you know.
Oh, okay. That doesn't surprise me. They had it all like locked down. What's going on in Spain in that regard?
Like show wise, COVID wise and stuff like that.
Just COVID wise.
COVID wise, well, just like many countries and many governments, no one really knows what to do, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so I can only like think for myself. My girlfriend and I don't really do much of social life, you know. We'll take it easy. I won't see my grandmother as much. I won't see my dad as much. But yeah, I guess I don't know. I don't know. People were panicking for a while, but I think they're just more used to it. Sometimes they're taking crazy measurements, but I think people in Spain are pretty hard-headed. So sometimes that's what needs to be done. Like everyone has to be, at least in Madrid, everyone has to be home by 11 o'clock. I think that's reasonable. You know, a lot of like people don't, you know, think that's reasonable. I'm like, whatever, like whatever you want to do, I think you can do. That's whatever you want to do at 11 o'clock. Maybe think about doing it in the afternoon, you know? No problem.
Yeah. Well, that's like one thing that's very interesting to me about Spain is how late your schedule is, you know?
Yeah.
Like we eat dinner here kind of on the late side by American standards, you know, sometime usually between 6:30 and 7:30 at night.
Right.
And then like we're in Madrid and we make a dinner reservation for like 9 o'clock and we're the first people in the restaurant or something.
Yes.
It's like, Jesus Christ, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess I could see why there would be like resistance to that, you know, because
yeah. Which, yeah, wasn't it? Yeah, you're totally right. I know you've been all around Europe, but that's like maybe just like a Spanish thing where like people, let's have dinner at 10:30. Let's meet up to go out at like 12 at night.
Yeah.
And just hang out for like 5 hours and be hungover the rest of the day, you know? Like,
yeah.
I'd much rather like hang out in the afternoon, you know? I guess
Dude,
that's
the night that we that Christmas Eve, I mean, granted it was
Right.
Christmas,
right.
but you know, we had dinner and it was like we flew back the next day on Christmas.
Mhm.
So, you know, because of, you know, how going to the airport is, you got to be up super fucking early and whatever. Yeah. And so yeah, you know, we went to bed kind of late and then we woke up at like 5 a.m. or whatever, and down in the lobby of our hotel and we're just watching people outside, and it's just like, you know, we basically just like it was like we took a nap midday or something. Everybody's just out hanging out, you know. Nobody's gone to bed yet.
Exactly. Yeah. That's
cabs everywhere.
yeah, exactly. Sometimes it can be frustrating. I sometimes I have to get to work like really early, like after 5 or 6, just because I work in like with videos, so like sometimes like, shoots are really early, and people are still partying, you know, and yeah. It's just the difference. I guess I was that kid 10 years ago, you know. So
yeah,
grumpy old man's looking at me all pissed.
Yeah.
Dude, so I think we're getting close to the end. Is there anything you want to add? No?
I mean, no, I'm very flattered that you wanted to talk,
Of course, yeah. This has been like
teething is great. Oh, I was just gonna say, it was cool. Like, just, we met just kind of randomly. I just remember Jose being like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna hang out with these guys. They're in this band Teething. They're good." And I love Jose and very much trust his opinion, especially on music. And I remember, rolling up a joint in our hotel room, pull you guys up on Bandcamp. I was like, all right, these guys are on the level,
Let's hang out with these guys. Excellent.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I mean, it's cool. I like when, bands like, have a very cohesive sort of aesthetic and everything. Like the Ralph figurines and everything is fucking hilarious, Dude, love it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Talking about that, well, first of all, thank you very much for your awesome words. Talking about the Ralph figurine, I just received a box of 100 new toys. And
oh, really?
Yeah, this one's gonna be Ralph goes to the beach. So it's like Ralph in like a Hawaiian shirt and like sandals and stuff. So that should be fun, but that's gonna be on hold till we release the new album. And you can imagine like just the like, I don't know when that's gonna happen because I don't know if it's a good idea to release an album right now. So like we're gonna be focusing on the splits for now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you want to have like a record release show and stuff,
Yeah, and like I don't know, I've been talking to people that have been releasing albums now, and it just doesn't seem like a great idea. I feel like albums are a hype for like a week, and then people forget about them. So,
yeah, I mean, I would say it's probably not just limited to albums. Of course, you and I are both big music fans, but I'm sure it's the same for films and books and everything, where it's like,
exactly, yeah.
You're just you can't do anything to support anything.
So
so
like the only thing you can do is like be really witty on social media, and that sounds like something I don't want to do, like
when you want to play shows and shit,
I want to do stuff in the real world, not behind a computer or a phone. That just, and like if I don't know, like it feels like something I don't want to do, like just all of the feedback we're getting is just like comments online, like so maybe
I mean, I don't know. The way I see it is, I don't know, if I had an album ready to go right now, I would just wait, because if I mean, I think about, there's been some albums that have been released in the past year. It's just like, I think, whatever, like a great there's this band from Canada called the Dirty Nil, NIL. And they're more of like a they're like a 3-piece, more of like a power pop punk rock and roll band. Very catchy, kind of heavy. They're actually, I mean, you can tell they're into metal, but I know that they are just from like interviews and stuff. But dude, they put out an album on January 1st this year.
Wow.
And it's like, I just think it would suck to put something out and then like 8 months later have to be like, hey, remember that thing? Maybe, from 8 months ago, like we're playing a show to celebrate, I don't know. It's this pandemic is, everything sucks.
So like, I think the idea is going to be like, put out those splits, which aren't as important, I guess, as like an album. So like, just have fun with it. Whenever I doubt what to do with Teething, I'm just like, let's just have fun. Let's just do whatever's fun, like don't need to follow a scheme or anything. Just like, let's put out a fucking toy. I want to put out a cereal at some point, just because I'm into all this shit. Like, we might as well.
What, like little Ralph heads?
Yeah, exactly. Like riddle Ralphs, and like get like this awesome illustrator to design like the cover of like Ralph vomiting and eating cereal at the time, That would be
what
awesome.
would if you did a Teething cereal? So, like all the oat pieces or whatever would be Ralph heads, or would you have his head be like the marshmallows, or how would that go?
That's such a good question. And I'm going to let you decide, because you're the one that's been smoking right now. So
well, I would say, you know what you could do is make like the oat, like the brown pieces, just a bunch of T's and E's and H's and INGs. So just like the word teething, like alphabet soup kind of.
Yeah.
And then you have like the marshmallows just be like the shape of his head and like, you know, a couple different colors or something.
Dude, that's a really good idea. But maybe teething and like throw in like a little extra like stupid word out there. Like,
oh yeah, I mean,
like,
well, the possibilities are endless.
I mean, teething.
Fuck you.
Yeah, there's like a penis. There's penis. A couple of boxes, you know.
Yeah, dude, I mean,
exactly. This is what we're talking about. Let's like have fun with it, you know. And,
yeah, I mean, dude, that should be, in my opinion, if you're in a band, having fun should be like the number one priority, you know.
Exactly. And I'm always like telling these guys, like, I'm more looking forward to like just getting together and having dinner than actually like playing the songs. So like,
well, that's always, that's always the battle at rehearsal. It's like, okay, do we hang out and shoot the shit and talk for 2 hours, or do we actually play these songs? You know?
Exactly. That's the constant battle. Yeah. Okay, so before we leave, one last question, which feel free not to answer, but I want to, since I'm a big horror nerd, I want to know if you've seen any cool horror movies in the past year or two, like anything come to mind, and anything that it doesn't have to be a new movie. It can be like, I saw this movie from 1981 that was really cool.
Yeah. Let's think about this. We watched somewhere in the pandemic, we watched oh my god, the same director that directed Parasite. What was the movie? Was it Slither? Or no, not Slither. It's basically the movie about the pandemic, and it's like a monster that's responsible for it.
The Host.
The Host, yes, thank you.
Okay, yes.
So that was quite timely and interesting.
Yes.
That I thought was pretty good. Dude, hang on, we have like this.
That's a great one to watch during the pandemic. I never actually associated it with.
Oh, dude, it was brutal. There was the best scene in that movie, in my opinion, was there is like this kind of montage where they're showing how the virus spreads from person to person. Yeah. And they show this group of people at a bus stop, and this guy is like clears his throat and spits into a puddle, and then like a car drives by and splashes the puddle on everybody at the bus stop. It's so fucking disgusting, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to rewatch that. It's been like 9 years since I watched
It's fun. It's more of like a monster movie than a horror movie. Let's see.
And the monster is really cool. You don't get that many big cool monsters lately. You know, I feel like the cool big monsters were like in the 80s or 70s or maybe even 90s. But yeah, that was a cool monster. It's like a big tadpole or something like that.
Yeah. Let's think. What else did we watch? Trying to think, because I have this big stack of horror DVDs that I borrowed from a friend, but they're all ones that were like going to watch. But I'm trying to think. There was something we watched from. I like returned one to them, and now I'm like blanking on what it was. Give me 1 second to try to call it up here.
Please.
And it was like it was an older film. Man. My wife, her memory, and I know it's funny because I was smoking weed. When I get put on the spot, sometimes I'm like, I'm bad with that shit. But her mind is like a steel trap. It's ridiculous. Nice. Now I'm trying to think of.
Do you want to tell me what it's about? Maybe I can guess.
Oh God. Well, I mean, I just like picture your eyes staring at me, and I'm having trouble like remembering anything about it at this point. And I'm trying to remember because I talked to, I returned it and was like, oh, this is what I liked and didn't like. And now I'm completely blanking on it. I will say there's one movie, and this isn't super recent, but that we watched, and I didn't enjoy it all, which a lot of people seem to like, which is the Babadook. Did you see that movie?
Yes, I've seen the Babadook. You didn't enjoy it? It's not my kind of horror movie. I totally get the appeal. It did have freaky moments. And I definitely enjoyed watching it with Sarah, my girlfriend, because she was very scared. And I just like when movies freak her out, because it's it's funny. It's funny to me. So I had
Yeah,
a good time.
we watched somewhat recently. My wife was when she was a kid loved Amityville Horror, the original one from the 70s. If I had seen that, it had been a really long time. So we watched that. I thought that was pretty enjoyable. How just like the house is just pure evil, you know?
Yes. Yeah, that's a good one.
Making like the priest vomit and everything. It's so death metal, you know?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, man, I am like completely blanking on what that fucking movie was. It's driving me crazy because the selection that I have here, aside from I have I Spit on Your Grave down here, that's, you know, like torture porn, you know. No, these are all ones I've never seen actually.
Okay.
And
Can
all
you
the
read
other
them
ones
to me? Can you
yeah, I'll tell you because they're all kind of like horror comedy except for that one.
Okay.
And then the one that I chose to watch was like I thought it was going to be more it was The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Okay.
It was more of like a courtroom movie or something, you know. It wasn't like
I haven't.
So yeah, that didn't blow me away.
I didn't see that one just because I felt it came out at a time where they were just like spewing out all of these exorcism movies. So that one just I just decided not to check it out. But
yeah,
you're telling me not to. So
yeah, I wouldn't bother. It's more of like a moral dilemma kind of movie, not like you know, a satanic spirit of some sort. But yeah, so we have because we had watched Amityville Horror, then we watched Amityville 2, which is like that I would say is worth watching, even though it's like you know, low budget, like hilarious horror movie. So we have Amityville 3D sitting here.
Excellent.
Let's see, there's some pro wrestling stuff I'm going in between. So we have
Stranglemania.
No, I don't think that ever came out on DVD actually.
I don't think so either.
So we have Basket Case, Night of the Demons, I Spit on Your Grave, The Eclipse, which is something that our friend recommended, and then it's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequel. Let me see. Oh, it's The Next Generation.
Okay, have you seen the lineup for the who's in that movie?
Well, we discussed it because I was just kind of going through their DVDs, like looking for shit to pick out, you know. Okay. And I've seen the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre a couple of times actually.
Yeah.
But I've never seen any of the sequels. So I know they're supposed to be, you know, like not so serious. But I like a good horror comedy if it's done well. Yeah.
Well, okay, so you mentioned a couple there that like really caught my eye. Basket Case, just so you know, I have a basket case tattoo, so that's
cool.
How awesome.
No, I've never seen any of those. So
okay, that's
and I was sort of picking them by like, you know, I've obviously heard of Basket Case, so I'm like, okay, let's like finally try to cross this off the list, you know.
I Spit on Your Grave is it's not as torture porn as you would imagine. Like it's like, I mean, it's like, it's kind of, how can I word this correctly? It's pretty cool. It's like, it's like a rape revenge movie. It's like powers women and stuff. So it's pretty fun. It's pretty cool. It's pretty violent too.
Yeah, that was, I guess, more of what I was saying was like my understanding. It's, you know, I know the plot where this woman takes revenge on these men. Good. You know, and just like fucking cuts all their dicks off or whatever. Exactly, you know, I don't know.
So yeah, that's a perfect sentence to end our podcast. This woman cuts all their dicks off.
I am classy. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a nice guy. What an excellent dude. What a bodacious bro. He's very charismatic. He knows how to tell a good story. Funny dude. 420 dude. Tune in later this month to hear my conversation with either Mario from Sudestada or Miko from Ravage Ritual. And if you enjoy this, please rate, subscribe, like, and don't be in the shadows. Let me know if you like this podcast. Hit like, give me a comment, give me a high five, buy me a soda, buy me Doritos.